This has been the first time that I have said something on camera, recorded a video about it, posted it on YouTube, and been right about it. This is 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe so that way you can be a part of the conversation as well. And for today, I'm talking about ARURF. So, in my last video about ARURF, I was talking about how I really couldn't dislike the game mode because I hadn't played it. Well, I clocked in 17 hours today, not 17 hours, 17 games both today and yesterday. Not 17 games over each day, but over 2 days. I played 17 games, and I'm coming at you with some actual information that I have about the game mode, and that the URF part of it is good. The AR part of it is bad. So let's get into it. So URF, the whole mechanics, the concepts, everything that was in URF the last time that you've seen it, whether you saw it 2 years ago, 1 year ago, this year, in April, etc., it's still there. Those very core features, the ability to spam all of your abilities very quickly and very frequently, the no mana cost, the no energy cost, the reduced health cost, etc., all of that is still there in the game. The only difference is Champion Select. So Champion Select has been replaced with pretty much you load into a game and you are assigned a champion. You can trade with your teammates. You can also reroll depending on what time. Not what time, but depending on... I don't even know how the reroll system works because I don't play ARAM. I only play Summoner's Rift. But you can reroll some games. Other games you can't. Some games you can. Right? But the major problem is that AR does not solve the problem of people getting champions. Because not getting champions, it does solve the problem of them spamming overpowered champions like Evelynn, like Wukong, and like Zed. But again, in my last video, you could just ban those champions. The problem with AR, the AR part in ARURF, is that it's not all random. I have a list of champions here that I'll be reading off to you, of champions that I actually played against and played as and had them on my team in these 17 games. So Ashe was 3 out of the 7 games that I played. Misfortune was 3 of those 7 games. Yasuo was 3 of those 7 games. Riven, 3. Garen, 3. Kayle, 2. TF, 2. Warwick, 3. Rengar, 3. Renekton, 2. Ryze, 2. Veigar, 3. Zed, 1, which Zed is one of the overpowered champions. Poppy, 4 times. And Lulu, 5 times. Out of 17 games. Some of the, and I had Wukong. I didn't mention it. I had Wukong 1 game because I played as Wukong, and it's not all random. There's over 100 champions in League of Legends, over 17 games. I would hope to hit the majority of them. I did not, obviously, by the numbers that I just read off to you. I may have hit about a third of those of the entire champion pool. I may have played as or had them on my team or against them. Right? In 17 games, I don't even hit the full champion pool. I don't even hit half of the champion pool. I can't even say to you that I know, because I don't know how Evelynn plays in ARURF. She probably plays the exact same thing because, again, URF is the same, but these team comps that Riot is assigning you aren't very good, right? Because the main person that I had, the main 2 people that I had was Lulu and Poppy, right? Now, depending on who is playing these specific champions, And I again mentioned this in my last video about being in a mentality of winning and saying and not saying to yourself, oh, I'm playing this specific champion, I'll lose. No, you always find a way if you want to win, right? But still, playing these two champions, depending on who you are, depending on how much or how little you know about these champions, will reflect on your actual score, right? Because you can carry as Poppy, you can carry as any champion in the game, but especially in ARURF, it makes it that much more prevalent to bring out the positives in some champions and the negatives in others. And I think that I had one game where the Lulu was just a boss, where she was a beast, where she could not kill, or she could not be killed. Then I had another game where she was just getting shitted on, right? And it had happened right after this Lulu had just done all this stopping, and I was like, is this the same champion that was being played? Obviously it was just different people. And the same thing kind of happened with Poppy, but Poppy overall isn't as good as Lulu in ARURF. She's very mediocre. She's just right here. She's just level. She's not really higher or lower in ARURF. And the problem that I had said, one of the major problems that I had said in ARURF is that there's ADCs involved. There are a lot of ADCs that I would say, not even a lot, just enough to really make you say, huh, this isn't a really good pick for my team, or this isn't a very good pick. For instance, I played with a Silver like 2 games into ARURF, or into ARURF, and she was terrible. Like, the only thing that she could really do was spam Q. Really, any champion in the game could shit on her, right? Because that's all she could do. She could obviously spam her spell shield, but that's useless, right? Because people could just deactivate her spell shield with one ability, then go in for the kill, right? So she was useless, right? And I was like, and ironically, I did get Tristana. I did, like me, myself, I actually did get to play as Tristana. I didn't go AD, I went AP, but I did get to play as Tristana, I did get to play as Misfortune, and I did have a Vayne on the other team when I was playing Olaf, right? And it seemed interesting to me that some of these ADCs, like Vayne, for example, she has this very interesting timing where she's okay, but she's not fantastic towards the late game when people start to go past the level cap and people start to have their full items. She starts to fall off really hard because people's abilities start to do a shit ton more damage. It brings me to a very important topic that I think ARURF is kind of not hitting, and kind of just super annoying. It doesn't completely solve the problem of people getting these very overpowered picks, and it does have problems with its randomization. I have gotten the same champions in games, right? Obviously from the list. And before I even go on to that, Yasuo is one of the worst champions in ARURF because his abilities, they don't have reduced cooldown, right? So you can have 80, 90, maybe not even 100%, and his ability cooldowns won't change because they're fixed. And except for his wind wall, so all of his abilities are on a fixed cooldown, and what that means is that there's no way to reduce the cooldown, so they're stagnant, so he can't really spam his abilities, right? And I got one of the worst champions in ARURF 3 times. That's terrible, right? But back to what I was talking about, you can get some of these same champions in Champ Select. These are the champions that I had just rattled off, and had said that these are champions that I had got in games. I didn't even tell you about the champions that I had actually gotten that I had gotten in Champion Select, and dodged. Either I dodged myself or someone else dodged. For instance, I played Olaf one game. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. That specific champion is very reliant on hitting his axes in URF, right? So I was like, I don't want to play this champion ever again. I don't know who I got, but it was someone bad. It may have been Rise, which, by the way, I got in Champ Select 4 times. 2 times I had to play. But I got Rise, I re-rolled, and I got Olaf. And I was like, I really don't want to play this champion. So I was just like, all right, I'll dodge at the last second, and I'll hope that someone dodges. Someone did dodge, right? Or I actually just fucked off and dodged myself. But the next person that I had actually dodged with was Renekton, and I had gotten Renekton. I had gotten Renekton once. I played him once, and then another guy on another team, on a separate team, had gotten him one time. So I had encountered Renekton 2 times, right? In the final game, the game that was meant to be my 18th game, I had gotten Renekton on a reroll, said I did not want to play that, even though I did do a fantastic job with Renekton. I was like, I don't want to play this champion. I want to play something different, because I've played as Renekton once. I don't really, it's okay. I don't really care about it that much. And I played against it once. I don't really want to play as this champion, right? And that's a huge problem, because if I'm re-roll, and I can't tell you, I said I got Rise like 5 times, or 4 times, 4 or 5 times. 2 times I had to re-roll, or 2 times, not re-roll, 2 times I actually played as this champion. Excuse me. I cannot tell you how many times I've re-rolled and gotten a Rise. So on top of the 2 times that I've played as Rise, on top of the 2 to 3 times that I've gotten Rise just by either getting into Champion Select and then re-rolling, I've also gotten Rises in 2 re-rolls. Right? These 2 re-rolls were the re-rolls that I had, not these 2 re-rolls, but the 2 re-rolls that I had re-rolled, right? So I re-rolled once, then I re-rolled again, and I got Rise. Those 2 games were the games that I were forced to play as Rise. Right? And it's like, I don't understand why there's this specific set of champions. So ARURF isn't very AR, really, according to my stats that I have for you right here. And these aren't stats that I'm just pulling out of my ass. You can look up, you can look up my ID. It's Tosi Husky. You can literally just look at the games that I've played in URF, and you can see, holy shit, there are champions that he's been getting almost 2 times in under an hour, right? It's ridiculous. That's like 3 games, right? Or that's 2 games out of the 3 games that I've gotten the same champion, right? It's a flawed system that could easily be solved with just increasing bans in regular URF. There didn't need... I'm very surprised at the length of time that it took Riot to figure out this system, and for it to be so broken straight out of the gate, right? 2 days after it was released. Technically, just a day after it's released, I've already figured out all the problems with it, right? It's not buggy in the traditional sense. It's just not as random as it should be. It's kind of like rolling 2 dices and getting 12s all of the time. People are going to start thinking that it's rigged, probably because it is, right? It's statistically impossible for me to get... It's not statistically impossible. It's statistically improbable for me to get Lulu 5 of the 17 games. 1 champion out of over 100. I'm gonna leave you with this warning, right? Riot isn't known for being very effective in some of these changes that they've tried to occur with some champions and some game modes, like URF, for example. And I remember sitting here, in this very chair, just staring at this very screen, thinking to myself as I was about to press play again after another game of ARURF had been completed, I don't want to play this game because I don't want to get a random champion. I don't want to get a champion that I don't want to play, right? And it led me to think this game mode is dead. If people don't want to play ARURF, then it leads to people just playing Summoner's Rift again. And I remember reading this article on Riot's website saying that they're making moves to make League of Legends an overall competitive game. You know, not necessarily to make it very fun, but to make it way more competitive. And I don't know if this was one of those changes to make ARURF or to make ARURF a lot less desirable, which it is now, and to make Summoner's Rift more desirable, which it now is if you play ARURF. And it sucks. And I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you, do you think that Riot intentionally did this, or do you think that they just screwed up? Because it doesn't seem... There's some inconsistencies with the randomization. I don't personally know. I don't work at Riot. But maybe you guys can share your thoughts and we can come to a conclusion together. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe to be a part of this conversation. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.